Hey guys, how's it going? Today I just want to talk to you about the first step really in joining the military, any branch of the military. I already made a video about boot camp and my experience with that, so if you're curious about that, check that out. I just made that first since it's the big question that everybody asks. But the first step is talking to a recruiter. And there's a couple ways you can find them. You can go online, you can go directly into the recruiter station. But I recommend making an appointment before your first time talking to them just to make sure you have time, and because sometimes they are hard to get a hold of. They're not always in their office since they're going out to different events or schools or just malls or whatever they do. But before you actually go in and talk to them, once you've made that appointment with them, do a bunch of research before you go in so you know what you're talking about and you're not going to be as easily tricked into doing things that you probably didn't want to do. And I'm not saying that all recruiters are dishonest or they're all going to lie to you. Some of them unfortunately will, but I know a lot of really great recruiters. I have friends that are recruiters, and I have a cousin who is a recruiter in the Army. So a lot of them are really just trying to help the Marine Corps, and they're trying to help you in the best way they can. But you can fall into things and not know the right questions to ask if you don't do your research. There's a lot of good websites. About.com I know has some good resources about the military where you can look up job stuff and just more information about it. And just ask veterans and active duty people that you may encounter, you may know, their experiences, and ask any questions you have to them. Don't necessarily rely on your civilian friends or family that have never really been in the military. They can have good intentions and everything, but they don't really know, and I heard a lot of stuff before I signed, and even after I joined, about like what military life is like, and realistically none of that was true, and they had no clue because they'd never experienced it. But just make sure you do your research, and then make a list of questions for the recruiter. You don't want to go in there and just have them talk to you the whole time and be like, oh, well, thanks, have a great day. Write down what you want to know from them, what they can do for you, what the options are that you have, and what you need to do to be ready. Um, but when you do go in, the first thing they're probably going to do is they're going to ask you about your medical history, because you can't go in if you have certain health conditions. Now, don't worry too much about it, but they can accept you if you do have certain things wrong with you, and they'll let you know from there. Other things may not be as big of a deal. I know I had minor scoliosis and I got in, and I had a couple other minor things, so I got in and it was okay. Then they're going to ask you about any legal issues you may have had. I know the Marine Corps is really strict on that, even though a lot of people wouldn't think of them being the strict branch. I know a few people who had minor things when they were in high school that they're banned from the Marine Corps from. So they do talk to you about that. I'm not saying for sure that it's going to exclude you, but you need to be aware that there is a risk that if you've done something illegal, then you may not be able to go in. So please don't misbehave if you want to join the military. The last big thing they're going to ask to see if you're qualified is drug issues. If you've been doing drugs or you're on drugs, they're not going to take you, so make sure you're clean at least 30 days before you even start talking to the recruiters. Next, they're going to just ask questions to try to figure out why you want to join the Marine Corps, what you're expecting, or any branch of the military, what you're expecting, just to try to get to know what you want so they can try to put you in a field that you're actually going to be useful. Believe it or not, they do want to try to put you in a place you'll enjoy. 90% of the time they can't, and they really don't have anything to do about it. I ended up in a completely different job field than I signed up for originally. But they will try to help you in the best they can if they're a good recruiter. Then they'll let you ask questions, any questions you have. So, ask what they can do for you, how long it would take for you to actually go to boot camp, because it does take a few months depending on your job, it could take a couple years before you could go if you have one of the higher level jobs, possibly the nuclear technicians and all that. And then they're going to explain to you all the benefits and all the things. And this is where people feel like the recruiters cheat them a lot of times, is when the recruiters start talking about all the things that the Marine Corps is going to do for you. Luckily, I had a really good recruiter and I didn't get lied to. There were things that obviously they make it sound like a better deal than it probably is. That's their job. It's like going to any salesman. Their job is to sell you something. They're not going to necessarily tell you all the nitty-gritty details or the fact that it's going to be hard to get this benefit and you're going to have to fight your way through to get it. But the good recruiters are actually going to warn you about the harder stuff too. I know mine when I enlisted, it was the height of, not the height, but the Iraq and Afghanistan were both still going full on. They were full on wars. So my recruiter said, if you sign, you're gonna deploy. You're gonna end up in a combat deployment most likely. She's like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. You're probably gonna end up in a combat deployment. And she also said that she spent her first couple Christmases and Thanksgivings and everything away from family, and it was hard. And so she gave me the honest side of things, and she also told me that chances are I wouldn't get the job I signed up for, or there was a chance, since it is the needs of the Marine Corps. You sign up for something, and they need another job more, well, you're going to the other job. And I know people who were actually pulled out of their job school halfway through and sent to another job that had vacancies they needed to fill. So just be aware of that. Other branches that are a little bit easier on that than the Marine Corps. From what I know, the Marine Corps is probably the hardest to get a specific job, but it is possible. But before you sign up, talk to other recruiters too from different branches. Just get a feel for what other branches can offer you, because you never know, a different branch could be a better option for you. And if your recruiter isn't helping you out and doing the best for you that you think they should be, you can request a different recruiter. You may have to drive to another town to get a different recruiter, but you can have a different recruiter that'll help you out better. Like I said, mine was awesome and helped me out. But once you're ready to join, you talk to the recruiters and let them know, hey, I'm ready to swear in. They'll take you down to MEPS, you'll do a bunch of other stuff, and I'm going to make a video about that later. But just, you swear in, and then after a few months, you'll go back to MEPS and you'll ship out to boot camp. So stay tuned for those videos. If you want to hear more of these, please subscribe to my channel and subscribe to get all the other things I'll be talking about in the other military videos. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, comment below, and I'll try to answer them as quickly as I can. Have a great day.